Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to radio station EXP. Tonight we are featuring an interview with a very peculiar-looking gentleman who goes by the name of Mr. Paul Caruso on the dodgy subject of are there or are there not flying saucers, or UFOs. Please, Mr. Caruso, could you give us your regarded opinion on this nonsense about spaceships and even space people?
Thank you. As you all know, you just can't believe everything you see and hear, can you? Now, if you will excuse me, I must be on my way.
All right, I got a guest tonight. Big C, man, he had some issues. Sorry, guys, for last night. Big C had something come up. He's going to come on next week. But, man, I was praying for my man Bobby over here from Finstock. Bobby, I used all my gimmicks, everything I had last night. I shot my wad, man. I need somebody else to talk. I got nothing left. So, Bobby, thank you for coming on, man.
Of course. No, Curtis, thank you, man, for inviting me on. I'm happy to be here and spend some time talking about our beloved Miami Dolphins.
Oh, more beloved, I think, now than they've been for a bit. I got a good feeling, man.
I'm with you. Like, we're going to chat about it. We're going to talk about it. But, the more and more, what's up, Balak? Good to see you in there, man. The more and more, this season gets closer, and I'm seeing what they're doing, and I see the actions that they're taking this offseason. I'm getting a little more excited. I don't want to say expectations are changing, but I'm getting excited about how this organization might be how it's being ran right now. Is getting me excited, but I can't wait to talk to you about it.
Okay, so look, we are like the abused girlfriend that's on the 10th boyfriend that says, I won't beat you. I'm going to treat you right this time, baby.
I've been saying I said being a Dolphins fan is, you hate the talk, but it's like, it's true. It's like being abused, it's like, it's going to get better. No, you need to leave. No, it's going to get better. They promise, and it doesn't get better. But this time I feel the change is in the air. I feel it's finally going to happen.
All right. I want to know, look, I talked a lot last night, so I don't need to hear me talk too much. Tell me, why are you feeling positive? Like, what about this is saying, hey man, this is not another slice of screw you?
Hey, look, first off, I talked about this yesterday on Finn's Talk Today with Finn, Sammy, and Dahl.
Sammy's great.
He is. Sammy's amazing, and I can't wait for the new season of Finn's TV with that trailer he dropped the other day was fun, man. I mean, it brought you up just to take you right back down at the end, but still, that's what the Dolphins do to you. No, but what's different about this year? I'm going to say this first. When we're talking like this, when you're asking that question of why I'm more excited than you, I'm not saying that this is going to be some 10-win whatever. Like, this is going to be my God. Look, I'm not saying that. What I am saying, though, is what's different about this organization. There's time. Hey, we've had off seasons when we sign players that are great at their position. They're known for, like Tyreek Hill. We've traded for him, Armstead, Chubb, and Sue, and we can go down the list of big time names, and we're like, oh my goodness, this is exciting to be. But there was always a fundamental issue with the Miami Dolphins that started with the foundation of the organization and how it was ran, and starting from, yes, you could say the top when it is the owner, but really it's the head of football operations.
You could say that, Bobby. You could say that about 10 times if you want.
Absolutely. But I'll tell you, again, we could start right there when finally, the one thing that Stephen Ross, you can't deny, they puts the money where his mouth is. He's spent money. He's done this, built redone the stadium. I mean, 100%. And, he wants to win. He's done everything he could to try to win easy and take the shortcuts. And, he helped, but the one thing that killed him was always the loyalty. It's the loyalty, and it's like, hey, we're going to keep this coach longer than we should. We're going to keep this general manager longer than we should. He finally said, okay, no, we're going to fire the GM. We're going to fire the coach. And we're going to, I'm going to give the reins to someone else. And he brings in John Eric Sullivan, who I was talking about yesterday. It's like, this guy's, we're so used to Chris Greer, who beats around the bush and
beats around the bush. Yeah, that's a kind way of saying it.
And
used car salesman with snake oil bleeding out of his orifices.
100%. And we're so used to that. It's like, hey, what do you think about this? Well, where John R. Sullivan, it's like, even though he's the GM and we know who the GM and we know who the coach is, and I love the way they talk and how but he feels like he has a bar, and it feels kind of like he's a coach, like he's in every, the way he talks, the way he says, hey, this is my vision for a Miami Dolphin. And if you want an idea of what his vision for a Miami Dolphins player is going to be, look at the 4 foundational pieces, or 5 if you're counting Malik Willis, but look at the 4 guys he talked about. Hey, these are the 4 pillars: Jordan Brooks, Devon Achane, Patrick Paul, and Aaron Brewer.
Yeah.
Count Malik Willis in that scenario, but those 4 to 5 guys are the guys that you say, hey, when you're looking at Miami Dolphins, the guys who are going to be here they're going to look the target to bring in, or guys that are here currently, and if they don't look like that or model their game to that, they're not going to be here long term. I mean, He said it from the very get-go. Those are the 4 pillars. And guess what? 3 of those 4 guys are extended now to 3 to 4 seasons. And what makes those guys different? We know how great Devon Achane is, right? You look at what he was voted on by his peers and by the executives around the league, top 5, top 10 guy at his position. Aaron Brewer, one of the top 5 centers. Jordan Brooks, top 5 linebacker. Those guys don't need to be here. Those guys could easily have said, I don't want to be in this organization. There's no expectation to win. We're going to have to take a big step back. We don't want to be here. They could easily have said that. And guess what, Chris? We can't blame them. We're like, okay, damn, that sucks, man. We're losing great players. I don't blame you. Go win somewhere. But what did they do? They extended. They said, we're going to sign deals. Not because they got some monster contracts. They didn't get some record-breaking deals. It's because they believe, after talking with John R. Sullivan, seeing what he's talking about, seeing what Coach Hafley's vision is we believe in what this team is building towards. So, and again, not what they only do, like when every other player, Tyreek Hill, Tua, whatever, these guys that were the leaders of your team, the top players of your team, whether they were quitting in the game, phoning it in, half-assing it when the game was over, whatever, those were the leaders of your team. And you're like, how can you blame? You can't really assess Chop Robinson and Kenneth Grant and any of those, Jonas Savanaia, who was in the wrong side anyway. You can't really assess those guys when those were the guys they were modeling their game after. What was
preach, man, preach? You're preaching. I like this.
What was the difference between those guys and Jordan Brooks, Devon Achane, Aaron Brewer, even Patrick Paul? Where was the difference? That no matter how bad that team was playing or where our record was during the season, they were always trying to bring their best game. And they're not always going to have a great game, but you knew damn well they were busting their ass. Same goes for Malik Willis. I mean, they could easily have said, we're going to be, John R. Sullivan, this is my first team being a GM, Chapman's first coach. Let's go target a quarterback in this draft. Let's go force our way on a quarterback in this draft, last draft. Or they're going to say, let's go after a veteran guy, Tyrod Taylor or something. But they got a front row seat to Malik Willis. They didn't sign it because he's a Green Bay guy. Oh, Green Bay South. They signed it because they saw the work he put in behind the scenes, in the film room, on the practice field. They saw the type of player he was. And then when he did get that opportunity in Green Bay, he didn't phone it in. He didn't still play like ass or anything like that, like some of the backups we've seen in Miami. He played some very good football. We're like, hey, wait a second. This might be the kid out of Liberty that people were saying this could be a type of first-round type of quarterback. He showed that he practices as a starter, and when he came in, he took that opportunity and ran with it. There's not a lot of film left. There's not a lot of film on him with it, but they saw enough where they're like, hey, that's who we want to bring as our first quarterback, and that's the guy we want to not only model our quarterback position after, but a Miami Dolphin after. So that's why I'm excited for the Dolphins. I want to say the season, because there should be no expectations for this season in regards of winning. I've said this already, Curtis. What I'm looking for this year, man, is progression, growth, established. I know Sammy says he hates the word culture, but establishment of a culture where it's like hardworking, where we see guys like if Malik Willis, I would say have a bad game, but I'm going to say if he has a bad drive and he makes a boneheaded mistake, how does he come back in the next drive? Or how, if he has a bad game or the coach has a bad game, how do they respond in the next game? I'm looking at players that we have questions about this coming season. The Chops, the Ken, whatever. Those type of guys where Chop Robinson, like, again, watching his film coming out of college, yeah, if you look at the numbers, you're like, damn, it's not a lot, those numbers aren't good. But if you watch the film, you're like, that kid got talent. And his first year, he was solid to me. His second year last year was bad. He phoned it in, but so did the rest of the team. So this is a year where I'm watching him. How does he respond? How does he come out and play? Does he play with a chip on his shoulder? Does he get better? That's what I'm looking for this year.
And Hafley called him out on a couple of things about that, about his attitude, his focus, and stuff like that. And that I think that's the core. I agree with you on just about everything. I think that basic core football understanding, discipline, competition, physicality. That's where all football is built on. And then you got the chalkboard guys who come in and put their intelligence behind that. But on the field, that's what they're about. And they're bringing in guys that, agree to like the nice guys, the good guys, but they weren't so talented. And, this group that he kept are fighters. They've got great character and they have talent. And so I pretty much agree on everything. A Chop to me, though, is, two things I would say. Willis, we only got a little bit of film.
Yes.
But have 2 years between 3,000 and 4,500 reps to watch this kid. So while we're kind of like in the unknown, they're very clear. They should be very clear. So I'm pretty much banking on that they're going to get us that one right, that, we got very limited film, but they saw him every day, practices, scheming against them. And then Chop to me, and Hafley talked about it. It's kind of my evaluations. He's kind of like a Melvin Ingram, and he struggles against the run. You look at Phillips. When Phillips came in, same thing happened. People said Flores hated him, pulled him out on third downs, but he sucked. He couldn't handle it. Couldn't handle a red zone. He's got to prove that. He can rush, but he's got limited tools. So, but those are things he can develop. All that stuff he can develop. So this is his year, and it is. I agree. For me, it's 5 to 7 wins. I don't think we should get less than 5. I think 5 to 7. And I think there's going to be a lot of stuff cut and thrown away. I mean, we could get less, but I don't know. But anyway, I agree with you mostly. I'm simpatico mostly with everything you say. And I'm very excited about the emotion, man. I like that. Because I've been covering for 4 years now, and it's like people get so excited about the Dolphins, and I'm looking at them like, they're a crack horse, sort of sore before she put the makeup on, and I just couldn't get into it. I'm into it. Like, you're doing your thing, and you're talking, and you're feeling the Dolphins, and it's been a while since I felt that, and it feels good, man. And I agree, and I don't say that just from the heart. So
no, 100%, and I'll say too, and you said 6 to 7 wins. It should be less than that. I'm going to tell you, I don't think you're too far off. Early on, I'm saying, it's like 4 wins. And again, nobody should have realistic expectation that we're going to win. But I'll tell you what, don't think this is a team that's going to phone it in. Don't think this is a team like they may be as general manager and coach, they may be realistic and say, hey, we may not win a lot of games, but every player should be busting their ass trying to get a win.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what this is about, man. Like, Monkey Kong, I see it there for shout out to Monkey Kong for commenting, everybody commenting and all that. But see, his commenting, he's like, what when you starts after bye week, how will these goals change? They won't. First of all, that's what I love about that. What but John Eric Sullivan had said when he's talking about like competition, like Malik Willis obviously was signed to be the starter. He signed as the starter. He's going to take the reps as a starter. But if he even in the preseason. In training camp, in preseason, if he's not showing, he could be that guy. If he's not, if he's slacking, or a couple games in the season, and he's slacking, you are just going to start. There's no more protection. There's no because we drafted you or we signed you or hey, we gave you a big deal. They cut Tua with the biggest contract in the NFL history. They cut Tyreek Hill. They don't give a damn about. They traded Jalen Waddle. They don't care. This is not about, what we signed you to. What is it? This is about
football
and football. And again, like Jordan Brooks, who's one of the better players at his position, obviously. But when he said it last year, he said, we're soft. We play soft. That's a leader. That's the type of guy I want in my life who is willing to recognize and call out his own guys who are probably bigger in his position. Anyway, that's why he's staying on this team. And that's why he's still on this roster, because he's supposed to be a leader of these men in this organization to say, hey, there's no more softball in the winter.
He's no nonsense. Look at him talk, dude. The guy's all business, hard. That guy's hard, man. He's like,
yeah, he doesn't play, man.
I love that guy.
Dude. And I am excited to see. And again, this is, it's hopium. No, we're not talking about hope. We're not talking about winning this season. We're talking about where this organization is going. You keep Jordan Brooks with Jacob Rodriguez. I'm excited about. But I'm more excited now that Jordan Brooks is staying. We're not trading him. I'm excited, but he's going to be under his wing, and they get to grow together, or he gets to grow under under Jordan Brooks to see what a real football player is. He looks the part. Now it's time to play the part, and he has that guy here. So, man, I'll tell you, we're not talking about this year. I know we've been patient a long time, right? We've been wanting this to happen for a long time, but I'll tell you what, this is the season. Like, don't expect wins. Don't go to see. We want to win. We're going to be celebrating when we win, Curtis. But what I want to see growth. I want to see progression. I want to see where it's like, hey, you know what? This guy, he had a bad week, but you know what? Look how he responded to week 2, or how he responded to week 3. Now we got guys that we know that when that it's not like they had a bad and they continue to be bad and bad games and bad games. We know Coach Hafley is going to hold these guys accountable. We know John Eric Sullivan's going to say, hey, 7A. And I like 7A. I think he should have been playing at the right side for a long time. But, we got guys that thought they were smarter than they really were, and they put him on the left side. When you see it doesn't work, sometimes it doesn't work. Move him to his natural position, put him on the right side, and see what he does. Guess what? We're moving him to the right side. But if he struggles like he did last year, as much as I like him, I don't care where he's drafted. Guess where he's going? The bench. Competition. That's what this team. Tua should have been benched a long time. We should have brought in competition a long time ago. But because he was the 5th overall pick, we had to protect him. That's not what this organization is anymore. That's why I'm excited. Because of what the foundation is looks like it's getting put into place.
Well, that's the thing with Greer. That's the thing with Greer. He had Eichenberg and the Jacksons in his resume, and he couldn't screw with it. Sullivan and Hafley are not about that, so I agree 100%.
Yeah, no, you can't. I mean, I get it, right? I mean, we've all played Madden or whatever. It's the easy thing to do when you play the video. You get your team is make the big trade and make the run. And Stephen Ross, God bless him. I mean, he tried everything to take the shortcuts. And he had guys that were telling him, hey, this is how you do it. Let's make that big splash. Mike Wallace and let's go do it. And it's exciting. It sells tickets. It's awesome. Let's buy the jersey. But does it win in December? Does it win the playoff? No, because we haven't won a playoff game in how many years? But
25?
I'm telling you, I don't know. We can't say for sure if this is going to equal a playoff win in 2-3 years. We don't know. But I'll tell you what, This is the right way to do it. This is the right way to start it. You know what I mean? You got to set that foundation. But he named 4 players. Obviously, it's 5 with Malik Willis. We'll say Malik Willis in the center. That are like, hey, these are the pillars. This is how we're going to build it. And he's not saying like, oh, these are the ultimate great players. He's saying these are the type of football players we want in our organization. And they're damn good at the positions. Devon Achane being the one. But that's what this is about. So he's setting the tone for this season and the seasons after, where it's like, hey, if Malik Willis, I forgot, forgive me in the comments there, who was saying like, oh, Quinn Ewers is starting when it, and Malik Willis doesn't work out. When you're thinking about another quarterback, Curtis, when we're going into that draft next year, the year after, whatever, hopefully not next year, but if we're going into the draft and we're looking at quarterbacks because Malik Willis will work out, look at Malik Willis, how he practices. Look at what he did in Green Bay in the film, the type of player he is. It may not translate into the field. We'll see. But that's the type of quarterback these guys are going to be looking for. Not the oh, he's just we got to take him because he's talented. No, how does he work? How does he come to work? It's not about talent. Talent can win you games, but it doesn't win you the Super Bowl. You have to come to work. You have to play to work and to build the organization the right way. And so that's why those guys are the 4 pillars. So
I like it, man. I'm just sitting here.
I'm trying to help you out. You got me talking about it. It's all good, brother.
I agree. I mean, look, when I was a walk-on, it was like a D2 school, but it was like a farm system. And I was a walk-on, and I was wetting my britches every day. That made me sharp. I didn't make a team, but I was sharp. And so it's the core. And I think it starts at the top where Greer was never afraid of getting fired. And that kind of trickled down. You've got to.
Yes.
It's not. What's his name? The linebacker. Holy cow. I can't remember his name. Pick. And I'm like, oh, Del Rio. I'm like, I love it. Del Rio's a linebacker. This is awesome. I'm like, who's this dude? 5th round pick. He got cut. And Zach starting. That's what it's about. It's about everybody fearing for their job. Everybody being pushed to some level. I mean, Dan Marino wasn't being pushed because he was Dan Marino, but you don't really got that. But you want somebody back there. You want somebody pressing on somebody's job in some way. You want insecurity. In football, when you're secure, you get lazy. You get soft. You miss the dotting the I's and the crossing the T's. And that's what this thing's about. It's about physicality, competition, hopefully discipline. So I think that they shown by, like you said, getting rid of Tua, taking on the largest dead cap ever. I mean, Tyreek, you kind of had to get rid of, but they moved off Waddle. You got rid of Chubb. You got rid of Minka. Guys, hey, look, you're out. And that's what you need. Because football is a game of horses, but it's how you ride those horses and what kind of shape those horses are in, how they perform. Zach Thomas would never have been an NFL linebacker or certainly a Hall of Famer if he didn't have stacks of notebooks of taking notes on every single guy he's ever played and just totally being obsessive about that aspect of the game. That's what it takes to be great. And I think that's what they're about. And I think there's an opportunity here with this season. I don't want to get too much of my thing, but yeah, I think there's an opportunity to overachieve what the low estimates are. And an overachievement for me is 5 to 7 wins. If you get 5 to 7 wins, think about it. You had a massive amount of talent last year. You were at the end of the building. You won 7 games. If you can get 5 to 7 with what you got here, and you go into next year with, I think, the 3rd best cap, another draft pick, that should be something you should be proud about, especially if you're physical, especially if you're playing the NFL cycle, which Greer wasn't doing. Greer was fighting the last war. He was like the French in World War II. What we have now with Hafley and Sullivan, they are entrenched in the modern warfare, the tactics, and they're pushing towards the future of where it's going. And that plays out a lot. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity here. I'm not saying big time stuff, but I agree with you. I think we can show enough to make us proud. And that's what I want. I haven't been proud in a long time of this team.
Yeah, well, I'll say this right here. That's a great point by Grope, with Malik Willis. First off, coming out of Liberty, there was no question about his character. Kid is a great character guy, and he's a football player. I think that's the most important thing. Well, and again, I love that idea. Like, he will not fail here. No, he doesn't want to. He's a football player. That's the most important thing. And I think he may say that if you ask him, "What are you?" I'm a football player, not a quarterback. I love he brought up Dan Marino, right? Talk about competition and whatever. Of course, Dan Marino. You don't really got to bring competition to Dan Marino because it's Dan Marino. So when a guy earns that spot, that's different. That's a different conversation. And obviously the Packers, you go back and you look at the Packers and what they've done over the recent history. I mean, Brett Favre was the guy until he wasn't the guy anymore. And before he even got to that point, what did they do? They drafted Aaron Rodgers. When they got Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers was the guy until he wasn't, and even before it hit that point, what did they do? They took Jordan Love.
Yeah,
that's like if John Eric Sullivan was the GM during Dan Marino's era, like Dan Marino would be the guy, and before he wasn't the guy anymore, we would already had that guy stashed. And when Marino was gone, we had a guy who moved up. It wasn't Damon Ewert, it wasn't Jay Fiedler, and I'm not gonna hate on Jay, but I'm gonna say it wouldn't be those guys. It would have been somebody who would have been like, hey, maybe we would have had that secondary guy that So that's why, again, we'll see. Right? We'll see if this translates into what we want it to translate. But I'm telling you, it's the right way. I saw something about the sand castles and all this whatnot, or the foundation is sand. You're right. That's what's important. You have to set this the right way. You have to build the foundation the right way. You can't build a castle on a foundation of sand. That's right. And that's what the Dolphins
Jimi Hendrix castles made of sand goes.
It could stand for a little while. It could look good. Damn, this is coming out really good. Oh shit. And here comes that big wave. It wipes it out. But again, when you set this expectation, you're like, hey, this is what we want in a football player. These are the 4 guys you better model your game after, and not just your game, but off the field. Like Chop, you're going to prepare. You need to prepare like Jordan. Chris Johnson, welcome to the team. Caden Proctor, you know what? Model your game after Patrick Paul. Look what he's done since coming into this league. Defying expectations. The guys are like, oh, we could have got that guy. Look what Patrick Paul's done in a short time as a Dolphin. And he's going to be, just because those are the 4 guys they brought up, doesn't mean they're going to be held to that standard. If they come into the next season and they play below, they're out the door. And but he just signed a deal. They don't give a damn. It's not about that anymore. You're not safe until you're safe. I want to ask you this though. I want to ask you.
Yes, sir. I like the preaching, man. Keep it going,
brother. I'm going to ask you this because we're talking about players that could be facing pressure, and I brought this up on my shows, but I want to ask you this because we haven't chatted in a little bit. We don't expect the Cam Cameron type of situation. So I don't think we're going to have a thing where we're talking midpoint of the season, Curtis, about Coach Hafley on the hot seat or anything like that. So there's no point in talking about hot seat on coaches. But I think there will be some players that could be on the hot seat. Which player or players do you think is facing the most pressure and could be on the hot seat this year if they don't perform to standard? Like guys that signed new deals a couple years back that could be facing the axe, or guys that we've drafted a couple years back that could be on the axe that you wouldn't expect to be like, who are those guys?
I think Ollie's got to perform. I think Grant not there, but he's getting there. He's got 3. I give him to year 3, but I think he's going to perform this year. Chop definitely. Savanaya definitely. If Savanaya washes out this year, he's done. He's cooked. He's going to be, they're going to replace him next year. And DJ Campbell might end up doing that. To me, Salier and DJ Campbell have the potential. Not so much DJ this year, but next year. But Salier could take Savanaya's lunch. Jackson's gone at the end of the season. He was signed just to be cut free. Who else do we got out there? There's really almost who else is out there that's anybody that Wright, he's still young. You're gonna keep him.
Ollie's younger than him. Ollie came after him. But I agree.
But we spent like 2/4 on Wright, and he hasn't had as many chances. If Ollie washes out, I don't think he's going to wash out. To me, Wright and Ollie are yards before contact running backs. And if you notice, all those guys, Balaj and all those guys that were like him, they all sucked here because we couldn't get yards before contact. We never had blocking. So there's going to be blocking this year. Proctor, Paul, and Kasmarek with Brewer chipping and going. It is going, and Salyer. I still think Salyer can take it.
Well, I'm going to say
Jonah. I think
I like Savanaya, and coming out of college, I like them. And again, I think he should be on the right side. But if you don't step up,
Oh, he's done.
It doesn't matter we drafted you last year. This ain't the year now. This ain't the same organization where we're going to hold on to guys or we're going to keep guys at starting spots just because we took them in a spot. You know, we recycling players over to no. You can't step up. You're out. I'll tell you, you know.
Well, here's it. Well, one thing, but this is the thing. Green Bay likes to find linemen mid-rounds.
Yes.
So they don't need to spend 15 picks to go get a guy. I mean, they did with Proctor this year because he was special and they wanted to go get that. But I think DJ Campbell can. They'll find other guys. They're going to load up.
I'm excited about DJ Campbell, man.
Yeah, they're going to load up the same. Yeah, I think DJ Campbell's got some talent. It's a little raw. But yeah, no, if Jonah has a season like last year, they won't cut him because guaranteed money. But
no. But he'll fall back. He'll fall back, and guess what? We have a decent backup, and that's fine. But DJ Campbell, I think has a shot, and we'll see what happens. We know Jackson's gone. I'll tell you a guy that I brought up a couple times on my show, and again, this is a player who you would think kind of fits that mold of a guy that you want on your squad for
Sieler. Are you going to say Sieler?
Zach Sieler, man. Sieler.
I didn't want to say it, man. I don't want to say
Zach Sieler, dude. He signed that new deal. Where'd he go? Where was he last year? I couldn't find him. Did you? He stepped way back. Like, I can understand where they named the young guys, but the young guys are young for a reason. Like, we let's cut them some slack. Look at the guys they were following last year. A bunch of asses. A lot of talent. But
I got a theory. I got a theory on Sieler. Let me give you my theory. So, notice how good he was when Calais Conan Campbell was here. And if you notice, he wasn't marooned in the interior so much. If you get him to play 3, but more 4 and 5 technique, that DN spot a little bit more, he's going to be way more successful. And if you get a guy that can split away from the focus, because nobody was focusing on anybody on this D-line last year but him. Now, he was injured before the season. He is a little older. He didn't have his best game. He had that one terrible penalty. But I do think because of the design of this front and how Hafley's going to use it, I do think he'll have a bounce back. But if he doesn't, then you got to start considering it. Well, maybe the age has got to him and this and that. But I think that the way, because guys like Gay Jr. is a guy who I think is a wild card. And then I like Uche, and I like the way Hafley stacks his fronts. I like the move to one gap. If you watch Sieler, and I've done a lot, I've kind of said it probably to the end of the time, but if you watch Sieler inside in two gap when he gets doubled, his hip always buckles because he's tall and lanky. He's a guy, he's an agility play. Yeah, he's strong. He's at the long arms, but interior, that leverage, that the height works against him in leverage. If he's shooting one gap in that 3, 4, and 5 technique, and he's not having to do two gap, and he's got a whole one gap attack, and they're rotating where they're going so they can pull the focus from him, I think he goes back to being a strong player. And I can't prove that, but if he doesn't, or he gets injured, then I think he do. But I do believe that, especially with Jordan Phillips, who's like right out of the draft, that was my favorite guy. So that was the best guy out of the draft. And I'm not saying he is, but to me, I felt it. And Jordan Phillips, Biggers, I think Grant's going to be better in the one gap. I think the way they do it, I'm hoping. I love Zach Sieler, man. I do.
Well, and that's why, though, but that's all the reasons you just said is, again, this is a guy, again, I just said at the top before I answered or said it. It was like, he's a guy, before even mentioning, you knew exactly what I was going to say, because this is a guy who like he fits that mold. He fits the type of player he's got. So
maybe Antsy.
I know. So like, and everything you said is like, okay, like I have no doubt that like he could do it.
But he's got
to. If he does take that step back, how long is he going to be? He's signed that deal. So that's why, like, to me,
what's the contract? You remember his contract? You're able to get out after this year, I think, right?
I believe so. I don't have it in front of me, but I think it's like that. But again, I hope he steps up, because I would love for him to stay with the
organization. He deserves it. He kind of has that Wake feeling to me, a great player. He deserves more. He got screwed. I mean, he didn't get screwed. He made loads of money, but You want to see, I wish I got screwed like that.
I wish I got screwed too. Like, damn.
Let me be screwed like that. Wait, hon. So if you get out it next year, you can move off him for an $8 million in savings and 12 million dead, which is very palatable because I think in 27 we have 99 million in cap space.
Yeah.
So yeah, if something happens, then I think that I think that he could be on that. Oh, I hope he does. He's not.
No, and again, I'm not saying that to say, I wanted to be. No, I'm just saying that he's a guy who kind of fits that thing where it's like, hey,
100%.
This is a guy who could be out. And again, I like Zach Sieler. I love Zach Sieler when he's playing great. And, but that's a guy who, when I was like last year, I'm like, where is he? Where is he? This is a guy that we should like the Jordan Brooks and the Devon Achans and those, that you expect to just play good ball or play with energy. And last year was one of those things that he just took a step back. So let me ask you this. Well, let's change it. Let's turn it around here. Who's that guy do you think could have a breakout year? A guy that maybe that when he's talking about, you're like, hey, maybe we're not expecting.
Oh, there's a bunch. There's a bunch. Let me start on offense. Okay, go ahead. Start on offense. I think Paul is going to go from slightly above slightly near above average to well above average, and that would be very good. I think a breakout year. I think Malik Washington, I did a study on how the Packers use their receivers, and Malik Washington fits the kind of mold because these small receivers, sometimes in bunches, they bring them inside almost like a tight end, and they'll crack down and play in the run game, and they work off the play action. And I think he's going to have it. I think Ollie Gordon is he's not going to be run for 2,000 yards.
No,
so if you think about it, it's like tenderizing meat. When you first get that hard steak, it's like a pain in the neck. You're like, but once you tenderize it, it gets easy. And I think that Ollie's going to tenderize these defenses. So Achane comes in a little bit fresher against tired defenses. And then he's going to crack it open more in the third and fourth quarter because Ollie can get in there. And Ollie's our best pass blocker. And that's I'm thinking we'll see some 22 patches, 2 tight ends, 2 running backs. We come out in that formation. It looks run heavy, but then you'll see Achane go out in motion and go out wide and come out as a receiver, and you'll have it Ollie lone in the backfield. He can either play action or come inside. But once Achane gets out there, it's going to reset the leverage. So they're going to start doing motions and moves. And you can even have Ollie go out and come out and play a tight end, small piece because he is the full complement back. To move guys, I truly believe you're going to see not like elite, but you're going to see moments where this mammoth, powerful man with insane bed who blocks with a scoop, he's going to move guys. And all it takes is a few of those where you get a run inside and now the leverage changes instead of hedging your bets for the outside to stop the edges. And so I think Ollie's going to have an impactful season in that regard. Maybe 600 yards, 650. The yards per carry, maybe in the 4 range, 4.3, 4.4. But it's going to be hard work. It's going to be running interior on the short downs, red zone, picking up the pass blocking. So that's what I would say on offense. And maybe even either Ewers or Willis. I think Ewers could prove himself to be either the starter or a backup, but I do think Willis is going to keep the job, and I think he's going to prove himself. There's a lot of reasons why I think that, but I don't want to get that. Now, on defense, I think Jordan Phillips, I looked at him, and he looks chiseled. He went from about 315, 320 down to 305. And that guy's not losing any strength. If anything, he's probably getting a little bit stronger. I really think that he's Marshall. I think he can play. He helps last year at nickel. Played a lot of man responsibilities. He can't handle it. He's got tight hips. He gets lost in the shuffle. But outside in zone, Hafley talked about it. He said they got to have 2 or 3. They got to work on 2 or 3 levels. And he could jam. He could drop. He's got the length and the speed to go deep. He'll struggle a little bit in the middle. But if you're playing zone, he can handle that. Now, Juju Brents, if he can stay healthy, might end up being the most shocking player on this team as far as jump and surprise effect. But I don't think he could stay healthy. I'm praying, but, the numbers don't look like that. My man Jason Sawney loves Dante Trader. I don't know enough about him. I see enough. I think he's got the intellect and the heart and the character. If a guy goes deep, then someone's got to pick up that deep responsibility. I'm a little concerned with his speed. It's pretty like 4.6, which you can get away with it if you make sure you're leveraging drops there, but that doesn't float my boat too high. So did I miss that you would say you'd put in there?
Say it one more time. You broke up a little bit.
Mention that would be one of those guys to take a step forward.
So, forgive me, I broke up there. But what I'll say this for me,
don't sweat it, man. I thought I knocked myself out. I was getting all excited. I was doing a Bobby, man. I was hitting things. I don't know what the hell was going on.
No,
I worked up.
Yeah, you did. No, so I love. First off, you brought up Malik Washington with the receiver room right now, especially with Chris Bell. He's put on the active, non-active, whatever.
Yeah.
So we don't expect him, which is okay. With this, the way the season we expect, let him take time. Let him, whatever. I love Chris Bell. I'm excited for Chris Bell. But this is an opportunity. This is the time right now for these wide receivers. Like these young Malik Washington, he has a good head on his shoulders, good character guy. Met him. He's great. And he's another one.
Oh, you met him?
Oh yeah. When I went to the DCC, awesome young man. Same thing with Kenneth Grant and Patrick Paul. These are guys, they were great with my son. They didn't have to stop. They stopped, and they were awesome. They took time. They stepped out of the line.
Cool.
And so
lucky dog. You got a
man.
network, dude. You meet Malik Washington, and you got your own network, dude. Living the life of Bobby, dude.
All right, yeah.
I got to get to live the life of Bobby, man.
Well, proud to do the Dolphins Cancer Challenge. Been doing that for 3 years now.
Very cool.
Been down there twice, but this time, this last year, my son did it, and he's going to do it again. But we got an opportunity to go after to the I forgot what it's called, but we went upstairs. And where the players done the bike. We just did the 5K, and the players, so they have their own little area. They got like a Stephen Ross special area, so they grab their food and go straight to the back. But my son, he's not he's not me. He's like my mother. My mother don't give a damn. She has no shy bone in her body. She goes running right to the guy. So I told my son, I go, oh look, that's Patrick Paul and Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon had already walked to the back, but my son ran up and touched Patrick Paul. And that dude, I was like, holy shit.
Oh, that guy must be gigantic.
But gentle giant, dude.
Yeah.
He stopped and he went right, and he was, unbelievable. I'm rooting for that kid. And Malik Washington, same way. Taj was good. And of course, Kenneth Grant, he was hanging out with the girl, and he didn't have to stop, but he right away go, oh, court. So I'm rooting for those guys. But I'll tell you, Malik Washington, what an opportunity he has to grab hold of that spot. Before, you're not going to start over Tyreek or Jalen Waddle, and whether those guys deserve the spot, which they're great, or they're talented. So it's hard to get. But now's your opportunity. Tutu Atwell.
This is it. Yeah, this is his moment.
Tolbert, those guys. This is wide open. Same thing could be said for oh my goodness, I'm forgetting his name. The receiver redrafted to Caleb Douglas.
Yeah, Caleb Douglas.
Let me tell you, dude, he has the size, he has the speed.
Oh, yeah.
Again, this is a kid that I do believe, I can understand a lot. There are other guys above. You're going to get me off guard. I don't know. Curtis is going to have to tag team on that. I don't understand. But I'm going to say, though, Caleb Douglas is a guy that I think he has an opportunity to make some noise. But this is what I love about our offense, or at least the idea of what our offense is going to be this year and what it should be. Starting from the trenches and moving back, the run game. They said, we're going to be run heavy. And when you bring up Ollie Gordon a couple seasons back was my quote unquote, people say, what's your draft crush? I said, Ollie freaking Gordon. I love everything about Ollie Gordon. I love watching his film. I love the year before he got drafted. Now, the year he got drafted, that year wasn't so good. It was the year before that. It was like, this kid's a stud.
Yeah. Well, no offensive down. That's why.
Yeah. So when everybody said, if you ever watch the shows, and you watch my shows, and when people bring up Ollie freaking Gordon, because that's how I talked about him on our draft show. So Ollie Gordon, I'm with you. I think he has an opportunity because of the way that Caden Proctor and Patrick Paul, two giants standing there on the left side.
And Will Kasmerick.
Oh my goodness. I do believe there were flashes last year from him. Not enough because they didn't run the ball enough. Devon Achane, I'm so glad we locked him up, but he's so much more than a running back. You could line him up at receiver, like you said. And I agree with you. If I was running an offense, it'd be pound the rock, 1-2 run. You first run it and then you pass it. Choke that corners up, then you pass it over the top. But run the damn ball. Be a physical football team,
baby.
Be a physical football team. People go, oh, well, we don't have Tyreek, we don't have Jalen Waddle, Malik Willis don't know nobody to throw to. He has people to throw to. Let me tell you, Caleb Douglas and even Coleman, the kid from Missouri, don't sleep on that young guy. Malik Washington, there are some guys, and when Bell comes back, and this has to be a run first team. You got Devon Achane and an Ollie Gordon, and then, like you said, Jalen Wright. This is the opportunity to step up. You got the line, but you can't be when you get those opportunities, you got to make the most out of it. Don't. And then you hear these things about him dropping the ball or fumbling the ball, whatever in practice. Can't have that.
Oh, that's a killer for a running back. Fumbles. Woo.
Again, there's no patience here. Not with these guys. Not with what we got running here. So I love the answer of Ollie Gordon, and I'm with you. You said 650. I was in 750, 800. Again, I think that could be in that scenario. And it's I'm with you. I don't see 2,000 or 1,500 yards on it. I could see 650 to 800 yards. I could see it. Devon Achane can still have his
6 touchdowns.
Yes. And that would be breakout. That would be where that would be a breakout where we're after that year. We're going, holy, Ollie Gordon.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's people go, oh, that's not a breakout. No, that's a breakout. That's a breakout. And I think he could be that, especially with the way they're going to run this offense this coming season.
Well, here's the thing. So it would be 2 points because, I got mental issues and I like to, draw the stuff up and spend hours on it, but think about it. If you go over the action, currently is massive, and it is the sweet spot for passing. And so just think if Ollie's getting his steam, what these linebackers are going to think. They're going to want to cheat up because they got to get their nose in the buzzsaw early before he gets steam.
Yeah.
And at that point, that's your pull and go, especially on second down. So things like that, where he can generate something out of the play action, that could be massive. And then, you look at Waddle's route tree, Achane can run most of that.
Yep.
He's got similar speed. I mean, he can't run the same. He's not as agile and all that. But if you put him out there, he can run the post. He can run the out. He can run the deep. He can run the slant. I mean, he had the one route last year where he did an in and a come back out, and it was beautiful. I think there's a little bit more here than with creative and smart leaders who are vesting in this cycle. And it's not to be a Super Bowl, but it's to be not to wet the bed and roll it and have your 5 friends come and finish it off on you, So I do think that there's a little bit more here. I think the run game, Ollie, Wright, one-cut guys to work with yards before contact. And then Achane. You start working at interior and you soften the outside, what can he do? So I'm in total agreement. Now, guys, we could stay longer, but my man Bobby was a little under the weather, the headache, so we want to get him out of here. Bobby, I really appreciate your time here, dude. I really enjoyed your energy. I really enjoyed talking to you. I always do. I got to make sure we do this more. Come on your channel, come here.
Yes,
I got to get Sammy and Steve on too. But just give us a whole layout. I'm sure people already know you. You know, you're like the Bobby, the Sports Network, Sport Network guy. But give us the whole thing. Give us the whole thing so they can find you and all that stuff. Promote yourself because I don't do it and I'm a schmuck.
No. I appreciate it. No, thank you so much for allowing me to come on and inviting me to come on, and then also being courteous enough to what I'm dealing with. I got a killer migraine, but I loved it, dude. You could tell I get fired up. I'm fired up about this team this year, man. And again, it's not because like we're saying, oh, it's gonna be playoffs. It's gonna be it's because it's finally gonna be done right, or at least it feels it's gonna be done right. It looks like it's being done right. I love that hog dog. So I'm just expecting, like, these players we're talking about, like, I just want to see that. I want to see guys grow. I want to see guys where we can say, hey, you know what, next year's draft, we're good at this position because we got young guys who are ready to step up, already stepped up and took that position, and we're just adding to the riches now. But where you can find me, look, Fins Talk Sports Network, FTSN, got a great crew of guys there and girls, that jump on once in a while, but like, talking sports, talking Dolphins. We had Fins Talk today on Thursday nights with Fins Sammy, who's the leader over at Fins TV. We talk basketball. We talk, Heat and NBA. We got the East 10th Street Boys on Wednesday nights. We got baseball with Russ Morgan on Wednesday nights as well. Of course, Real Talk Fins Talk with Steve Malloy. If you want that, there's no sugarcoating there, man. Steve don't sugarcoat. He's not one of those. He's a fanboy, but he don't talk like a fanboy. He'll let you know when something ain't working. So if you love Real Talk, go check out Real Talk Fins Talk. We see Curtis is on there a lot, sometimes during the season. And if you love pro wrestling, we do that too. No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast on Saturdays at 5 p.m. We've been doing WrestleMania after WrestleMania. We're watching every WrestleMania and kind of touching on that. So if we got everything at FTSN. So if we appreciate it. If you're new, if you haven't been on the channel or subscribe, come on over, hit that subscription button. We got pregame, postgame. We're on every day, almost every day. Top fantasy sports. We got it all. So appreciate the time to be on here, and appreciate everybody in the comments. Even if you don't like what I'm saying, I appreciate you commenting and interacting with us. And make sure you subscribe to Ace Per Head, man, because Curtis is a great dude, man.
I got to do that, man. I see you guys, all you smart guys do that. Like, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all that stuff, man. I got to remember that, man. I got to get my game on. I'm still in preseason mode, man. I'm turning my game on this year. I'm going to start promoting myself. I think I'm going to do it. At 5 years in.
You should, brother. Yeah, man, you should, man. You got great stuff, dude. You're a great dude.
Yeah, I'm just not much of a salesman. I'm working on it, though. I'm working on it. Listen, Bobby, it's great. I definitely want to get you back one day. Feel better with the headache, and
brother.
I'll be on your show. And listen, the best. We're going to have a good season. We're going to have good stuff to talk about. I believe it. So, listen, everybody, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for all the comments. I appreciate it. Sub to Bobby over there. Check out Finn's Sports Network. And
Talk Sports Network, FTSN. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm bad with that stuff. Anyway, and check out Sammy. Sammy had this really good AI thing. Check
Fins TV. Go check out Fins TV. I mean, first off, Fins TV on Tuesday nights. The new season's starting up. Sammy and his crew there. I can't say enough about them. And Sammy, man's a great dude. But great Dolphins content, great panel. Every type of viewpoint you need. Like, you got the homer, you got the hater, you got you got it all. And one thing Sammy always says, and he'll say it, and it's so true. No matter what happens, at least we got each other as Dolphin fans. Like, because you talk about that abusive relationship, at least we have the fellow Dolphin fans. So go check out Fins TV with Finn, Sammy, and the crew, man. The graphics, the video thing.
Oh, he's a master at that stuff.
Oh, dude, the stuff he does, man. He's just a great dude, a great guy.
He is.
So,
he is. I really feel like I get a good vibe every time I hang out with him. It's like
unbelievable guy, man. I'm so grateful that I got him doing Fins Talk today with me, and he makes it easy, brother. Like this right here, this was easy. Like talking, like this was easy. That's what I love. He's like, you got to work to try to like with Sammy. So you guys love Dolphins content? Yes, please. Fins Talk Sports Network, Ace Per Head. Fins TV. Those are your get-goes right there, okay?
Yeah,
there you go, brother.
No wonder you got a network. All right, everybody. Thank you. Bobby and Curtis saying, be well, go Fins. Bobby and Curtis out. Thank you, everybody. Really.
Fins up.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to radio station EXP. Tonight we are featuring an interview with a very peculiar-looking gentleman who goes by the name of Mr. Paul Caruso on the dodgy subject of are there or are there not flying saucers or UFOs. Please, Mr. Caruso, could you give us your regarded opinion on this nonsense about spaceships and even space people?
Thank you. As you all know, you just can't believe everything you see in here, can you? Now, if you will excuse me, I must be on my way.